"This restaurant is for elite guests, sir. Places within your budget are across the street." The waiter's tone wasn't just dismissive. It was a dagger, aimed straight at the pride of a man who had spent years serving his country. Sergeant Thomas Hartford stood silently for a moment. Clad in the striking ceremonial uniform of Her Majesty's Royal Guard, he had just entered one of London's most upscale restaurants, known for its exclusivity, reservations made months in advance, and a clientele that prided itself on refinement. The sound of his polished boots against the marble floor had already turned a few heads. The vibrant red tunic with gold trim, his perfectly pressed navy trousers, and the iconic bearskin hat, each detail immaculate, seemed to clash with the subdued luxury of the restaurant. He wasn't here for attention. He was here for a quiet dinner before deployment. A rare moment of stillness before being sent north to Edinburgh, where ceremony, precision, and duty would again take center stage. The maitre d', a man named Lewis, approached him with a stiff smile. The kind of smile that didn't reach the eyes. "Do you have a reservation?" he asked, already expecting the answer to be no. Hartford handed him a printed confirmation. Lewis barely glanced at it. "This outfit," he said, gesturing up and down with a smirk, "is dramatic. I'll give you that. But this isn't some sort of costume ball. And frankly, sir, your presence may make some of our more refined patrons uncomfortable." Hartford remained calm, as he always did. "It's not a costume. It's a uniform. And the reservation was arranged through official channels." Lewis didn't even bother to hide his disdain. "Sergeant or not, I don't believe this establishment is appropriate for that sort of display. There's a cafe just across the road. Their prices might suit your budget a little better." A couple at a nearby table exchanged glances. One of them whispered, "Is that really necessary?" But Lewis continued, confident in his perceived authority. "We do pride ourselves on exclusivity. After all," he added, "I'll need to free the table." Hartford could have demanded to speak to a manager. He could have quoted regulations or even pulled rank, but he didn't. Instead, he did what guardsmen are trained to do in moments of adversity: stand tall, remain silent, and preserve dignity. He turned to leave, and then, from the far end of the restaurant, a voice cut through the tension. "Hold it right there." An older man stood up. He wore a tailored navy coat, a subtle military pin on the collar. His posture was upright, his eyes sharp. "I know exactly who that man is," the older gentleman said. "He's a Royal Guard. And if you're telling him he's not welcome here, then let me make something very clear. Neither am I." Gasps scattered through the room. Even Lewis seemed briefly stunned. The older man approached Hartford and extended his hand. "Name's Walter Simmons, retired Royal Navy, served 28 years. Hartford took his hand and gave a firm nod. "Sergeant Thomas Hartford, Royal Guard." Simmons turned to Lewis. "You're quick to judge a man based on a uniform, but do you even know what that uniform represents? It's not just ceremony. It's sacrifice, discipline, protection. That man's presence doesn't diminish this place. It elevates it." At that moment, the restaurant manager emerged. Claire Morgan, a composed woman in her 50s, approached quickly after overhearing the commotion. "What's going on here?" she asked. Simmons pointed to Lewis. "Your employee just tried to eject a decorated guardsman who had a confirmed reservation, on the basis that his uniform wasn't appropriate for this establishment." Claire's face hardened. She turned to Lewis. "My office. Now." Lewis stammered but obeyed. And just like that, the tide shifted. Claire personally escorted Hartford to the finest table by the window. "Sergeant, on behalf of this restaurant, allow me to apologize and thank you for your service and for your patience." Hartford simply nodded. "Thank you, ma'am." He took his seat, ordered nothing extravagant. Just a modest meal and tea. He wasn't here for luxury. He just wanted a moment of normalcy. a warm meal before the next stretch of duty. But fate had one more twist. Just as the main course arrived, a scream rang out. A woman had collapsed at a nearby table, her skin pale, her breathing shallow. Diners panicked. Staff froze. Without hesitation, Hartford was out of his seat. He moved through the crowd, unbothered by the whispers or gasps. He knelt beside the woman, gently checking her pulse. "Someone call emergency services," he said, calm and commanding. "I'm initiating CPR." Time slowed. In full ceremonial uniform, Hartford leaned over and began chest compressions. 1, 2, 3, his training kicking in with clinical precision. The silence was eerie. The entire restaurant watched in stunned awe. A few minutes later, paramedics arrived. Hartford quickly briefed them. "She was unresponsive for 40 seconds. I re-established a pulse. She's stabilizing." The woman's granddaughter, no older than 10, ran to him sobbing. "Thank you. Thank you. Are you an angel?" Hartford managed a gentle smile. "No, sweetheart. Just a soldier who happened to be nearby." As the medics wheeled the woman out, a quiet wave of applause rose around the room. Not loud or showy, but full of something deeper. Respect. Simmons leaned toward Hartford's table and raised his glass. "To the quiet ones, the real ones." Claire approached once more, eyes glassy. "Dinner's on the house, Sergeant. And if you ever want to return, there will always be a table reserved in your name." That night, something changed inside that restaurant. The diners didn't just witness an act of heroism. They were reminded of the quiet strength that walks among us every day. They saw what true honor looks like. Not loud, not boastful, not in search of praise, but steady, dignified, and ready to act when it matters most. And Lewis? He didn't return to work, but no one really noticed. They remembered Hartford, not just the soldier in red, but the man who stood tall when dismissed, stayed calm when disrespected, and rose when someone needed him the most. Because real respect isn't earned in silence. It's revealed in moments of challenge. And Sergeant Thomas Hartford? He didn't need a table to prove his worth. The entire room became his stage. And in a place that claimed to serve the elite, he reminded them what true class really looks like.